2, 1. All right, hold on. All right. Oh, shoot. There we go.
This is Sean Payton, head coach of the New Orleans Saints. What's with this Saints Happy Cast? This has to be the worst Saints podcast in the world. Ralph can't say anyone's name right. Andrew doesn't know football. Everyone has a hard time listening to Dave. And is Kevin even there tonight? The audio with this podcast, my God, the audio, it's painful.
All right, everybody, welcome to Saints Happy Hour podcast. Off to a rip-roaring start. Thomas, I'm sorry I added the Kevin isn't here video. I added it late. It played on top of everything. I'll get it right in 2022, I swear to God. Me running this podcast is as bad as the Saints offense in the fourth quarter yesterday. The Saints are done. Season kaput, finished. Dave, you were at the game yesterday. Was it as sad as it looked on the TV?
It was so much worse.
Worse than the audio in the pre-show?
Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I couldn't hear myself. I was the one with the bad audio, and I couldn't hear myself, so I can't compare. Yeah, the game. Look, I was fortunate enough to be one of, I don't know, it seemed like they had a little more than 3,000 in there. I think they might have been pushing 4,000 or 5,000, but lucky enough to get a ticket, win the lottery. And, everybody that had a Drew Brees jersey was definitely wearing it. Even I broke my own rule, that an adult male, middle-aged man should not be wearing a football jersey, but I went ahead and wore my Drew Brees one to the game. It was exciting, and the Saints got off to a good start. I mean, let's talk about Deontay Harris first. This was supposed to be my game. This was supposed to be.
It was. When he was going to the end zone, I was ready to do the tweet, and then I saw the flag, and I was like, ah. And by the way, Andrew, your UDFA son, he's disowned, right? You've excommunicated him from the Juge family. Unmute yourself, Juge.
Unmute yourself.
I was muted. I never mute myself. How did that happen? No, I was, Hendrickson might be gone, and so Granderson may have an opportunity to work himself back in depending on how next season goes. But yeah, for now, he's sleeping outside in the doghouse, and it's pretty cold out here in Charlottesville. So when he comes back home, he will have a very cold outdoor little shed to sleep in.
Keep him away from me, because I was not a happy camper with your son there.
Yeah.
I was not a happy camper.
I mean, Dave, you've been waiting for that.
Dave's son made a mistake of not touching that guy.
You've been waiting for that all year.
In comparison to that, what Granderson did was like 10x.
I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, we all point to the Jared Cook fumble as the turning point of the game, and the one
Andrew
play
called that
really
in a text chain, by the way. I don't know if Dave, if you were on that, but he was like, "I have a bad feeling for Cook this week."
You could easily point to the Granderson penalty. Deontay takes that one back to the house. It's 10-0. They're off to a good start. They've got the momentum. Who knows what happens after that?
I mean, sick catch. That sick catch by Michael Thomas. If he just gets 2 feet in there.
I celebrated that. That was in front of me. Close on my side of the field, but it was on the near side of the field. And when I saw him catch it, I thought he had it. I thought it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
I saw the replay.
And when I watched it live, I actually thought the Michael Thomas thing was a touchdown. I thought, oh my God, he caught that. And I actually thought the Traquan play was not a touchdown live. I was surprised to see that he actually got 2 feet in there.
Yeah, I felt bad for Traquan. He could have gone in the Hall of Playoff Heroes. I mean, the trick play from Jameis. The second touchdown, he had a big third down catch. And, oh, by the way, I know a lot of people in my emails, for whatever reason, were very down on Sean Payton, his play call, and they're like, the NFL has figured out his offense. I mean, I thought Sean Payton's game plan yesterday, the play calling was good enough. And, Andrew, to just flat out steal the Bears' play a week later, the balls on that man to run the exact same fucking play. And it worked like a charm, and the Saints caught it. It was magical.
I went and actually found the play in question. I sent it to you, Ralph.
You did.
Watch that? Yeah.
You did.
So I found the play, and just to make sure, because I was like, God, that looks awful similar to what the Bears ran. And I watched the play during the game, and it is a mirror image. Like when you say they copied the Bears, the alignment was the same. The way they ran the reverse and the pitch was the same. The route by the receiver was the same. It was a mirror image, a complete carbon copy.
The thing was, Dave. That was great. It's like we always joke Traquan Smith.
The only difference is Traquan caught the ball.
Yeah, we always joke that Traquan is amazing when people forget that he doesn't exist, and that was like the most peak Traquan play ever. But the thing that blew my mind is they brought Winston in the game. Taysom isn't active. Like, if you're Tampa, aren't you like, they got Winston in this game? It's like something is fucking up here. Like, I mean, like it blew my mind how well that worked.
You know, sorry, go ahead, Dave. You're about to say something.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I wanted to ask you guys. So, Aikman said something interesting in that game.
Oh yeah.
Which was that, hey, they called 2 shot plays in 2 weeks, and last week they had Taysom throw that ball. Obviously, he got hit and fumbled, but he was the quarterback in the game to make that throw. And then on the trick play, it was Jameis. And so the point that Aikman was making is, look, like when they're trying to get these big chunk plays, these big shot plays, they're having other quarterbacks in the game throwing it instead of Drew. And I was wondering, do you guys agree that Jameis was in there to throw that trick play for his arm? Or do you guys think it was more of like he used to play for Tampa, kind of like
I think it was yes. Yes.
All of the above.
Yes. I mean, I think the main reason is obviously his arm, and they needed a score.
Does Taysom throw that bass if he's healthy?
Probably, but Taysom, dude.
Yes,
I mean,
Traquan was open, so
yeah,
he didn't have to wait for Traquan to get open. He could.
But my question is, if Taysom is playing, would they have still had Jameis throw that ball, or would they have had Taysom in there instead?
I think they would have had Taysom.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think they would have fucked with Jameis.
I mean,
but look, to answer your question, Andrew, obviously, I think the majority of it was, look, they needed to take a shot downfield, and Drew just can't do that. It was just icing on the cake that this happened to be against the Bucs, but
it is comical that the highest rated quarterback in this game was Jameis Winston.
I mean, well, let's
by far the best thrower in the game.
Let's get into the Saints offense, but I felt like Drew was bad, but in a sense, Andrew, I can make the argument like the offense, it wasn't I wouldn't say it wasn't clicking, it wasn't firing on all cylinders, it was very difficult, but it was fine. They were up 20-13. They hit Cook on a nice design play. They're going to have 1st and 10 at about the Tampa 35. Like, it was fine until Jared Cook fumbled, and then they just went in self-destruct mode. But besides the interceptions, why was Tampa all of a sudden, it seemed like the pressure from them just turned up after that Cook fumble, and it was only 20-20. So what the hell happened in the fourth quarter that Tampa just turned up the pressure and they shook Drew?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, I know the Saints ran a couple sneaks with Drew, and there were a couple times where he was standing there and kind of trying to shake his shoulder loose, and it's hard to tell sometimes if he's just doing that because it's like a nervous tick.
Yeah, he always does that.
Or if something was wrong. Like he looked physically uncomfortable to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if, I mean, I know he's been dealing with the rib stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if he aggravated something or had a new injury. But he took some shots in that game. So, I mean, who knows? We talked about this some in the post game, Ralph, but this one's difficult for me. Like, I have mixed emotions on how to really. I've been thinking about this all day. Like, how do I address the elephant in the room? Because Drew was horrible. Like he looked done, and yet, like, I want to quickly get to like a place where we're respecting what he's done for the team.
And that's a great point, and it gives me a chance to segue to this, and I want both of your thoughts on this. I was watching ESPN today. It's always hard to watch the playoffs, and I didn't binge podcasts because the Saints are out, so I didn't listen to any of them. But Dominic Foxworth was on ESPN, one of their talk shows they have, and he made an interesting point. He's like, at first I was sad for Drew Brees because he had a terrible fourth quarter, and I was like, he's a Hall of Famer. That's a horrible way to go out. And then he thought about it, and he said, you know what? I changed my mind. He says, as an NFL player, the way Drew Brees went out is the exact way that I would want to go out. He said, because think about it. If Drew Brees throws for 350 and 4 and the Saints drop a touchdown or their defense lets him down, he'd be like, this is my final game, and I was great, and you guys didn't hold up your end of the bargain. Maybe I can keep playing. Yesterday, he knew, like, it's over. I cannot do this anymore. I gave everything I had, and I'm done. And that, Dominic Foxworth said, is like the better way to go out, because you know in your mind and in your heart it's over. There was no bad breaks. I just don't have it anymore. And I thought that was an interesting way to put it. It doesn't make it hurt any less for me, because I still wanted the Saints to win Drew's last home game. But I thought it was an interesting way to put it. Dave, your thoughts on?
Well, I mean, I get that, and I mean, I like that. I like the fact that I'm one of those people that is always wondering. I'm always contemplating what could have been or what could be, and like you said, if Drew Brees' last game, he goes out and throws for 350, 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then he decides to retire, the rest of my life I'm gonna wonder, well, man, especially if the Saints don't have a good quarterback next year, I'm gonna wonder, man, could they have made one more run or could done another run? So it is nice to just sort of get some sort of closure on it in a way, but at the same time, we're not getting closure. We're not getting to celebrate him. He's not playing in front of 70,000 people. He's not getting another championship. He's ending it on a bad note, and it's fine if the last game an aging quarterback plays, he goes out there and he stinks it up. That way he's got closure and he knows he's not going to be great. But it sucks when it's in the divisional round of the playoffs. I mean,
I'll say this:
that could be week 17 of the regular season of an 8-8 season. And it hurts a little bit less than when it's in the divisional round of the playoffs and you've been playing okay and you're in a game that you could possibly win, but your tight end fumbles the ball in field goal range when you could go up by 10 points, maybe even 14 points. Instead, you give it up and the other team scores and it's a 10 or 14 point swing and it totally changes the fucking goddamn game.
Jared Cook, Tampa Bay was his house of fucking horrors this year. He was god awful in the game they won 38-3.
If the Saints go up 10 points or 14 points,
it's
then,
over.
Drew probably doesn't throw those other interceptions either, because they're probably running it with Kamara and they're keeping it on the ground more. And the whole game, it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. It's not as bad as 2018, but it's a tough pill to swallow.
Well, it's not as bad as 2018.
And I hate, and as far as Drew Brees is concerned, I fucking hate that this is the way it's ended. It's disappointing. It sucks. Maybe they'll listen to your idea where maybe they sign him to a contract for a day. They let him go out there for a snap or a series or something once the stadium's filled back up and there's 70,000 people. This just is like, this is just a shitty way to go out. And then I think, and then what makes matters worse, what made yesterday so fucking miserable is that you have to watch Tom Brady continue on. And Tom Brady's a year older than Drew, and Tom has seemed to just play better and better as the season has gone on, and he can still throw the ball downfield, and he's definitely going to come back again.
He sucked in that game. Come on.
I don't care if he sucked, but he won the game, and he's going to be playing.
Yeah.
He went to a different team and took a mediocre team all the way to the NFC Championship by bringing Gronk with him and everything else. Arians isn't a great coach. I think Tom Brady has.
Can we talk about Bruce Arians and just his look yesterday?
I didn't see him. I'm sure it was as
I
bad
mean,
as
he
all
looked
the other
he
looks.
looked like he had a bomb strapped to his chest. He looked like his hair in the back was disheveled. His mask looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole look was just like his face was real red, like he had been drinking wine for a week straight. Like it's just it was really kind of embarrassing to just look at him and know that Sean Payton was losing.
Well.
Yeah.
But I mean, just it was salt in the wound. It was a slap in the face that we have to watch Tom Brady move on, and that we have to watch him, be more durable and get to play a longer career, and potentially, he's going to have the career touchdown record now. He'll hold on to that. It's just it just added insult to injury. That's what really made it worse. I had to walk out of the goddamn stadium and watch Aaron Andrews interview smiling ass, plastic faced fucking Tom Brady.
Yeah, sorry about the video, guys. Thomas keeps saying we have to do 720. If we do 420, we look horrible. But I don't think my computer can handle pushing out 720. So next week we'll go back to the mediocre quality video. That's mediocre, but not dropping 7,000 frames a minute. The thing is, Andrew,
you also
that was
kept the background moving. You were not supposed to keep the background moving.
Yeah.
the background is giving people seizures. Is that what I'm seeing in the chat?
No, but
there's just too much shit going on. There's the background moving. There's the GIF of Kevin. Like, I don't know. Can't handle it.
So we'll just
anyway, but back to Drew. My heart wants to say that he's going to come back. I know he's non-committal. I think that's ridiculous. That's a crock of shit. My heart wants him to stay. My heart says there's no way you can go out like this. I said on the big show before this game, I said there's no way you can lose to Drew Brees. You can't let that be the way you go out, especially not after you throw 3 interceptions. But obviously, in my head, knows
he's done. I mean, you could see it with his kids, and
it's ironic though. Yeah, sorry, Ralph. Go ahead.
No, with his kids, Brady threw the touchdown. He's kind of like slow dancing with Brittany on the side. Like, I mean, it's a wrap. I mean,
I was gonna say, Dave, just kind of getting back to, I think, a point you made several times, just the irony that I thought the defense actually played great. I thought they played really well, especially early. And, you can't really blame them. I mean, they gave up 3 touchdowns on short fields. One was practically a pick 6, and then the other 2 turnovers were inside inside the 40. So, Tampa had 3 short drives to get 3 touchdowns, and otherwise they settled for 3 field goals. And so I thought the defense played well. They were gassed late. You could tell they just kind of ran out of gas. But it's just kind of ultimate irony, like David said earlier, just that they finally found a defense for Drew, and he had to play basically his worst game, and he played bad in the playoffs last year too. It's just like Drew is wasting defensive performances, and you wonder if it's kind of like part of it's like, see how it feels, guys? See how it feels to lose games and fail on our goals because I can't help you out when you're playing great? It's almost like he's giving the defense a taste of their own medicine.
Well, it's funny because Ralph said he didn't listen to any podcasts. I listened to a bunch of podcasts today. I like to.
You like to cut
bathe
yourself,
in my
Dave, and
misery.
make yourself bleed?
Yeah. And so, I mean, I was listening to Pardon My Take, and I mean, and Big Cat was saying, do you think there's any Saints fans out there that are just totally, upset at what could have been and how many Super Bowls they left on the table, or
No, not a one.
and PFT was like, I don't know if there's that many people, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Yes, we are all.
Yes.
We all cannot believe how many years of Drew Brees we have wasted, and how we only have one Super Bowl to show for this. That is absolutely what every single New Orleans Saints fan feels like. How could you even consider that we wouldn't feel that way? God.
What I told Ralph, we did a little test podcast today, and the prevailing thought for me is just, I actually have been dealing with this okay, and I actually thought it would be much worse. Like I went in my head over how it would feel to lose to Tom Brady and how devastating that would be as Drew's last game. But so I expected to be crushed, but I wasn't. I felt okay, and I think part of it is just like recognition that Drew is done. And physically, like, he just doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, even if they had found a way to win that game, like, they're not beating Kansas City. They're not beating the Bills. They're not beating the Packers next week. Like, they're not going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if the goal is the Super Bowl, like, yeah, it would have been nice to get to the NFC Championship, and I still would have liked to have gotten there, but it's like they weren't winning anyway. So I'll be honest, all day today I have thought way more about the no call in 2018.
Oh my God, yes.
That was when the shot, that it was there for the taking, and it was taken from us. We were robbed.
I mean,
the Saints would have beaten this. I swear to God, they would have beaten the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
I said it in my column. I said, Dave, I believe Drew Brees, he wanted to retire in 2018. He should have gone out on top in the pinnacle. Alvin Kamara should have been MVP in his hometown in Atlanta. Drew should have been said peace out. And in a right, just world, Tom Brady would have been the Saints quarterback yesterday. And that's what it should have been. But the no call, we got fucked, and here's where we are. But I believe Drew Brees wanted to retire 2 years ago. He kept playing for the money, for his teammates. He wanted another ring for the city. But really, in his heart, he wanted to be done 2 years ago. I believe that.
I agree with you. We should be 2 years into, the next phase, the next quarterback cycle.
It makes me sad to say that out loud, though. It's just like, I mean, obviously Brees deserves to go out however he wants to, and the Saints should afford him that luxury, given what he's done for the team. And it's funny though, because someone asked me the question, like, what if Drew wanted to come back, and would you guys even want him back?
I mean,
I don't know.
No, I wouldn't want him back, and it's not because I don't love him. I don't want to see further decline, Andrew. Yesterday was bad enough. I don't want to see Drew Brees decline further. Maybe he gets nicked up and he's trying to play through it, and I don't want to see is it time to start Taysom? Is it time to start Jameis? Is it time to sit Drew? Like, I don't, and I firmly believe, like, his body is in full decline now, and if he would come back, that would be on the table, and I don't want to see it. Like, I love you, Drew. It was amazing. It was the best 15 years. You made the Saints from a laughingstock to every Sunday we thought the Saints could win, even when their defense was the worst defense in NFL history, because we had you. And we were like, our defense is abomination, but Drew can go out and throw 7 touchdowns against the Giants and we can win. And we believe that every week. We believe that every goddamn week. And it was awesome for 15 years, but it's done. I don't want to see further Drew decline. I want to keep his memory like it is, and if he comes back, it's just going to be more. It's going to be more yesterdays than it's good days. I really believe that.
Yeah. It's funny. I was a lot of fans were saying this maybe even 2 years ago. Certainly, a lot of fans were saying it last year, especially after the playoffs. And I'm such a Drew supporter, and we've been so spoiled having him as the quarterback as long as we have, and his just mastery of the position and his excellence and he's a champion and he's a superstar. And so I've probably been slow to kind of agree and maybe just resign myself to reality. But I mean, now, like, there's no saying otherwise after this game. I'm there, and I just feel like, as big of a Drew supporter as I am, if I'm there, I can't imagine many people aren't.
And I want to say this. I forgot to mention at the top. The hotline, the reduced version we're going to play today is amazing. If you're a patron, go, and it's in your stream. It's 20 minutes. It is fucking amazing. We have grown.
Oh my God.
We have grown men crying, and it's fantastic. We got tears, we got jokes, we got Troy Aikman slander. The full 25 minutes of the hotline is amazing. It's amazing, and I did it in chronological order. So it starts with people calling in before the kickoff, and then during the game, and it just descends into horribleness. But it's amazing. You should listen to it because it's got a lot of great Drew Brees tributes, and we'll get to it later.
Wait, I have one thing. Drew, as far as Drew's concerned, I think if we had Drew Brees from 2 years ago or any version of that of him prior, I think potentially, he's good enough that he could have won this game.
I think if the Saints had Drew Brees, any Drew Brees from 2011 to 2015, these last 4 years, they'd have won a Super Bowl. Because Drew Brees from 2011, he doesn't get shook in the Rams NFC Championship. They boat raced the Rams. If they'd have had Drew Brees any time from 2011 to 2015, the last 4 years, they'd have won a Super Bowl. I truly believe that.
Oh, they would have won a couple.
And
okay, my other question is specific to this game, the divisional game. It kind of felt there toward the end, I guess maybe after the Jared Cook turnover, that the Saints really had to score. They really had to put points on the board. Jameis had already come in for the trick play, pulled the trigger, got the touchdown. Do you think that the fact that this was Drew Brees' last game in the Superdome, this is a two-part question. I mean, really the question is one, would you bring Jameis in just to change it up, just to, as a Hail Mary, try to get this game, try to win this game because Drew's not doing it? And two, if you would, do you think that the fact that this is Drew Brees' last game in the Superdome prevent you? You can't do that to the guy on his last game. You couldn't.
Putting in Winston wasn't an option. Like the Saints, their Saints were sinking or swimming with Drew Brees. Like he had done so much for the Saints in 15. Like you couldn't fucking pull him in the last game, and maybe you should have, but you couldn't. You just that I mean, not even a consideration.
If you're just thinking of it rationally, like who has the best chance of bringing that team down and scoring a touchdown, maybe it's Jameis. If you just talk about physical skills and who's able to throw what pass. Yeah. But when you think about the history of Sean Payton and the amount of prep time and the amount of just history that Sean Payton has with Drew, I mean, there's no way Sean Payton's pulling him in that situation. There's just no way.
No way. But I want to say, Andrew, it'll get lost, and I think it'll become apparent to America on Sunday. I think Tom Brady is a lot fucking closer to Drew Brees washed than people want to admit. He was low-key fucking terrible in that game. He just didn't make mistakes. He was barely 50%. Now, I know the Saints secondary played great, but Brady was missing dudes too. Like, I was not impressed at all with Brady. I thought the Saints defense was fantastic yesterday.
I don't know. That pass by Brady to Godwin in the end zone that Godwin wound up dropping, I mean, that was a fucking dime, no?
Yeah, but I mean, Drew Brees threw a couple. He threw the one to Michael Thomas. He threw the one to Traquan. Like, I mean, he threw some good balls. But I'm saying Brady looked like he's on the decline as well. Is all I'm saying. I mean, I know people were.
He's been looking that way for the. I mean, he's been better this year than last year. But I think he's looked bad against the Saints 3 games in a row. I don't think Brady looked very good, and I think he's gonna look like shit next week against the Packers, and I think the Bucs will get killed. At least I'm convinced. I can't see Brady back in the Super Bowl. That would make me want to puke.
Oh my God!
I know
I will fucking die if Brady takes the Bucs to the Super Bowl.
I know that there's a lot of Aaron Rodgers haters out there, and I'm with you. I don't like Aaron Rodgers either, but like right now, I'm all Packers. I want the Bills to
it's not even
Super Bowl.
It's not even Brady for me. Like, Brady being nice to Drew and throwing his kids a touchdown made me hate Brady like a little bit less. And I appreciate that Brady looked at Brees, and they're the only two people in the world that understand how fucking hard it is to prepare your body to play quarterback after the age of 40 and do it at a high level. So I think they have that sort of bond in a way, and I thought that was really nice of Brady what he did. But I cannot have fucking bomb-wearing Bruce Arians as a Super Bowl winning coach. I cannot have it. So I am full Packers, Bills, Chiefs. I don't care. I cannot have Bruce fucking Arians.
What was the name of that guy in the
Bills,
Atlanta? Remember that guy in the Atlanta Olympics that found the bomb and that
Richard
was later?
Jewell?
Yeah.
They made a movie about him.
Bruce Arians looked like a drunk old version of Richard Jewell.
Rest in peace.
That's what he looked like.
Here's a question for the chat room too. Does Jared Cook, does his
horseshit ball carrying? I know that. Horseshit.
Does that make him like one of the Saints' all-time playoff goats? I feel like it will.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it will linger.
Goats?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You mean just like failures?
Yeah, like he'll be up there with Roman Harper, 2010 versus Seattle.
Yeah.
Yes. The Scott Shanley for San Francisco, 2011. Like he'll be on the list, man, of playoff goats.
Bill Vichinovich or what's
Bill
his name?
Vinovich.
He's
More of like a
Hall of Fame.
villain than a goat, though. I don't know.
Yeah, let's talk about this real quick. Who's the Mount Rushmore of Saints playoff failures? Who's on it? I mean,
Vinovich.
Vinovich is on it, 100%.
100, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm putting Cook on there. And you know what?
Jared
throw,
Cook,
throw Granderson on there, too, while we're at it.
No. I would put Cook. I would put Vinovich. I think Roman Harper's got to be on there.
Yeah.
Because of the 49ers game. And I don't know, Ralph, what do you think after that? Fred Thomas?
Ooh, Fred Thomas, yeah. Bobby Hebert, if you're going to go old school. Bobby Hebert was fucking
you can't pick Vernon Davis, Fredo. It's got to be – we're talking Saints.
Oh, yeah.
Talking Saints players.
Bobby
Hebert
Hebert
is a good call.
was atrocious in almost
we'll let Vinovich on there.
Yeah.
Vinovich and Hebert – yeah, it's true. We did let Vinovich on there, yeah.
But he's not a player. I mean, I would say Bobby Hebert for sure. Vince Buck, it's debatable because I don't think he was
wasn't offside.
He wasn't offside, so he can't
was
go
screwed. That official should probably be on there.
Oh, you know what? Boys? We got breaking Saints news during the podcast. The Saints don't.
Drew Brees just threw another pick.
No.
Drew Brees is coming back next season?
No. The Saints don't want Ryan Nielsen to leave and go to LSU. They're making a giant pain in the ass, which is surprising because Sean Payton always says, "Oh, I want my assistants. I want them to go on to bigger and better things." But like he doesn't want him to go 90 minutes away to Baton Rouge to be defensive coordinator for LSU. It's a little surprising.
Yeah, that's odd. I remember that he wasn't cool with Joe Brady leaving. And he told Joe Brady, like, that's a terrible idea. You shouldn't do it. And he ends up going. But, I don't know what Sean Payton has against LSU. It's strange.
I mean, well, the one thing I will say, like it's hard to have if a person wants to go, you can't, like, keep them and they're disgruntled employee. But Ryan Nielsen, Dave, he's a hell of a coach. I mean, you look at the Saints defensive line. He turned Trey Hendrickson from a guy to 13.5 sacks. David Onyemata, Shai Tuttle, your UDFA adopted son Malcolm Roach, Even Davenport.
Granderson.
Yeah, even Davenport. You've seen improvement from him. His issue isn't that he's not improving. His issue is health, right? So
Yeah,
I
true.
could see why they want to keep Nielsen, but it's just it's interesting, which is another topic, Andrew.
When
I just
Nielsen grades his defensive players, he calls it the Nielsen ratings.
I feel like LSU should have to trade Jamar Chase to the Saints to get Nielsen.
Yeah, is this gonna
Go Tigers?
It's gonna strain the LSU Saints bond.
Well, I'm sure Sean Payton is getting sick of Orgeron
Orgeron's stealing his thing,
taking his staff. Yeah.
Well, the thing is too is that the Saints are primed to have a mass exodus. Dan Campbell, he got the Lions job. Fontenot is going to Atlanta. Aaron Glenn is probably going to be a defensive coordinator somewhere. Nielsen leaves. I mean, that's
this is bullshit. That's what happens when you win a Super Bowl. We didn't even win the goddamn Super Bowl, and everybody's fucking jumping ship. We got the worst of both worlds. The fuck is going on?
I think in our in defense of the Saints, I think they've gotten away with not having their staff poached for it. This has gone on too long almost. Where it's surprising that how are Carmichael and Dennis Allen still in place? Like with the amount of success the Saints have had, it's surprising.
Well, Dennis Allen has the Raiders stink on him. He got his shot with the Raiders, and the Raiders were abominable. Now, granted, the Raiders when they hired Dennis Allen, they were like literally, they were like, dude, we're like $80 million over the cap. We got to clean up the cap. We got to fix and like Dennis Allen was in a no-win situation, but he still got the Raiders stink on him. Carmichael, he must be a terrible interview, or he's happy with the Saints. He's only interviewed for, I think he interviewed for the Rams job in, I want to say 2013 is the only time I think he's ever interviewed for a head coaching job. He must be a terrible interview. He looks like kind of like a Tony Dungy, where like he's really quiet and maybe he doesn't interview well, or maybe he just likes being the Saints offensive coordinator, which would be weird for an NFL assistant. But it's weird to me that like before Joe Brady, the only Sean Payton offensive assistant to get a gig was Doug Marrone, which is fucking weird considering how amazing the Saints offense has been the last 15 years.
I've told you this about Pete Carmichael. Get Thomas to go look it up like 7 years ago when we discussed this. But I think he's just happy. He's got 4 daughters. He lives in Destrehan. I think he just is a family guy, and he just doesn't really want to move, and he's happy where he is as long as he's accepted. As long as Peyton still wants him. So.
I think with Pete Carmichael, it's totally about his demeanor. I mean, there's no other reason. Like the dude's.
Dave, I got news for you. Thomas isn't doing shit. Tomorrow on the call with Thomas, the first 10 minutes, he's just gonna say, "Ralph, why do you keep fucking up the video that I keep explaining to you?" And it's just gonna be me sitting there for 5 minutes like a 5-year-old with sad, sunken eyes. Like, Thomas isn't doing shit. He's just gonna berate me during our entire call tomorrow. So you ain't getting no research out of him. Forget that. But sorry.
Were you on the news this morning? Did you do your bit this morning?
I did, and Eric Paulson got a parting shot on me. I made a joke.
Oh, no!
I made a joke that he's like, we won't be seeing you for a while, thank God. And I was like, no, Eric, I'm coming over for dinner tonight. And he's like, honey, lock the doors. And that was my sign off. But I'll be back on WWL. They'll have me back for the draft.
That's solid.
Oh, by the way, people were very touched that I said that Max had his first Saints lose a playoff game cry. The last 4 minutes of the game, he was on my lap just crying, asking me why the Saints weren't winning and we weren't going to have pizza next week during football. So Max is officially a Saints fan now. Once you have a good cry once you have a good cry after a playoff loss, that means you're officially a member of Who Dat Nation. So that was exciting for me.
I mean,
my kids
imagine.
didn't even
So
watch
my
it.
son, my son is 10, and he's a total diehard. But imagine what it's like for him with his first like real cry was the Hail Mary, the Minnesota Miracle,
Oof.
and then the no
one.
call, and then last year, and now this. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't cry. He didn't cry this time, but
He doesn't. He
the
doesn't
last
even.
4 years have just been.
He doesn't
brutal.
even know
It's
like.
been awful for all of us.
He doesn't even really experience like no playoffs. You know, playoffs.
Yeah, but I mean, in a way, man, this is more torture. I feel like.
Yeah. Speaking of, I
Tell
mean,
that to the Browns fans.
we talked
Sure.
about Drew struggling. We talked about Cook, but there's a couple other, as Sean Payton likes to say, dirty hands with this game.
Granderson.
Michael Thomas completely MIA. Cam Jordan got erased by that rookie tackle for the Bucks. I mean, Saints had a lot of big stars come up empty yesterday, Andrew. You're watching the tape, breaking it down one final time. What stuck out to you as sort of maybe a person that we're not talking about that like you were like, damn, man, you got to play better in a big game?
Yeah, I'm slow getting through the tape. I'm like a quarter and a half in.
You're like Eric McCoy. They asked him about it. He's like, I don't want to fucking watch that shit.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I'm slow to do it. But normally it's the next morning. Everything's in the can and done.
Yeah.
But it's it's a hard watch, man. It's you see the play where Deontay gets tackled, and his neck gets bent a little bit, and you can see he kind of bounces up, and you can tell he's like trying to shake it off, and he comes out, and he ends up not coming back in the game.
God, I hate to hear that. I hate to hear that.
That injury ended up being something we don't really talk about, but when you look at the way the Bucks are playing, and everyone was up on the line of scrimmage, you feel like Deontay was the one guy that could, shimmy and lose a dude off the line of scrimmage, and Brees could go vertical. That was the one guy that maybe scares you in terms of just his sudden speed when you play that close to the line of scrimmage.
They had
they had Sanders, and Sanders made some plays, but otherwise, you had Callaway on a bum ankle, you had Traquan on a bum ankle, and you had Michael Thomas on a bum ankle, right? So I don't know that any of those guys were creating much separation. I think part of it was they all were dealing with bad wheels.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Deontay Harris injury was massive, I thought.
Before we get to questions and that sort of thing, Dave, one thing I was talking about on Twitter, I was arguing with people, is I look back at the Saints, what they did this offseason, and I can't really fault them for anything they did. They tried to go for Clowney, and that thankfully did not work out, and he ended up being a bust, and they ended up keeping their second-round pick for next year. So that worked out in their favor. But everything else they did, I can't complain. They signed Malcolm Jenkins. That worked out awesome. Emmanuel Sanders, he worked out pretty damn good. They tried to upgrade the offensive line in the first round. They needed to. Ruiz didn't work out, but clearly they needed an upgrade there. They traded for Quan Alexander. My boy Anzalone in his final moment with the Saints didn't look so good. But I can't
I think you need to play the Dead Mario sound clip for Anzalone.
But I can't really fault, Dave. I can't really fault the Saints for anything they did this offseason. I can't really look and say the Saints should have done this and that would have put them over the top. I thought their offseason, they did everything they possibly could to try to get Drew a ring.
Yeah, look, on paper, they have a very good team. They are a talented team. They are deep at a lot of positions. I think anybody that follows the NFL that knows football would certainly agree that the Saints have one of the more well-rounded teams in the NFC in the league. I think PFF, Pro Football Focus, had the Saints as a favorite to win the Super Bowl, at the start of the playoffs, just because they have a a well-rounded team, and their defense is playing well. But
You know what the great equalizer is?
yes.
Four turnovers.
Fucking
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going. When you come out and you
The-
play a
the
game and you
Bucks-
turn the ball over 4 times, I don't care how good your team is, and especially if you
fucked.
have an aging quarterback that you're trying to.
The
That's a
Bucks
house
didn't
of
beat the
cards.
Saints.
The
The
Saints
Bucks did not beat the Saints.
No,
The Saints
no, we
beat the
beat
Saints.
ourselves. We beat ourselves. We absolutely beat ourselves.
Jared
And I'm
Cook, Granderson, Brees.
Yeah, we still have a better team on paper than the Buccaneers do, and
That is
I'll be
fucking
interested to see what
stupid.
Andrew uncovers
Wake up.
uh, on some of those interceptions. One of them, the third or the fourth one, to me it looked like him and Kamara weren't on the same page.
Yeah, it looked like
And it
Kamara
was-
ran the wrong route, maybe.
Well, it looked like it might have been an option, and Drew
Yeah.
thought he was going to do one thing, and Kamara did the other thing. I. But yeah, you 4 turnovers. You can't turn the ball over 4 times in the playoff game. Absolutely not. You cannot do that. And serious Saints fans were watching the game, and when Jared Cook fumbled the ball, they knew it was over. The real diehard Saints fans knew the game was over when they had to settle for 2 field goals early in the quarter.
I
in the
mean,
first
yeah.
quarter.
I mean, the thing is, the shame of it is like, if they just could have got 2 scores ahead, I think the pass rush would have swallowed Brady whole. Like, it was
I agree.
right there.
It
It
would've
was
changed-
right there, you know?
It would have changed the game.
But
The fumble changed.
Yeah, they don't throw a flag on Granderson like if they just miss that play. And let's just say they call the Michael Thomas catch a touchdown, and let's say it's 14-0.
it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
I think it could have gotten out of hand really quickly.
Yeah, because then Tampa basically kept leaning on the Saints with their running game, and it never really cracked the Saints. I mean, they hit the one play that the Tampa had a holding, so they had to call it back, but they never could crack it. And once if the Saints would have got ahead, Tampa would have had to abandon the run, and it would have been a party. But that's how it goes. Listen, before we get to the questions, we're gonna run this hotline. And I want to say, Dave, take a bow, because you pushed the hotline, pushed it all year. And listen, I know yesterday sucked, and we wanted to go to the NFC Championship game, but this hotline this week, it was amazing. I'm proud of everybody. We had a ton of calls. So this is it. This is the season finale of the Saints Happy Hour Hotline. It's time for this week's hottest takes from the Saints Happy Hour Hotline.
I just want to conduct a search party for Sean Payton's balls because his ambush and flea flicker and challenge flag reigning days are over, and he's now the guy who bent over for Goodell and doesn't trust his future Hall of Fame quarterback to get 8 yards with the game on the line.
As we've learned with anything in 2020, it's all just a bunch of horse shit. So fuck it. That's it. That's the voicemail. That's it. Play me on the show. Or don't play me on the show. I don't give a fuck. Guys, this is horrible. I am so sad. I can't even get angry and look at anything X's and O's of the game because I am so sad. I felt like this has been like The Office in 19 and 20 seasons were like those last 2 seasons without Michael Scott. It's just horrible. 2018 was his last year of being productive, and the timing of the defense getting good is just, it was way too late, and I am so sad. Dave, you look exactly like Artie Bucco from The Sopranos. That means I'm going to need you to cook and send all Saints fans the fattiest, most comforting Italian food that you can create in the kitchen. Please and thank you. Anything, any sort of Saints therapy is needed at this time. In the end, we don't always get what we want, and all good things in life must come to an end. That's all I have to say on this one. Man, fuck that game. The offense is about as bad as Ralph's ability to pick an outfit for himself, man. Fuck. The Bucks ran the ball all over the Saints like Juge runs all over old ladies on a tennis court. The O-line must have been hanging out with Kevin, so they just kept getting body slammed to beat up the whole fucking game. They smell like nougat. That's all. Man, what a fucking game that was. Fuck these motherfuckers, man. That fucking, fuck.
What a suck, everybody. Am I right? That was painful, but we'll live to see another day. I think I felt like the game was over as soon as that first pick happened, because it looked like a holding, then a DPI, then an interception, and then a face mask on Thomas. And I think at that point I was like, you know what? I don't think this is going to be us. After that, I just hoped that Brady would be standing next to Arians and that weird bomb strapped to his chest would go off. But alas. Anyway, who dat? Fuck the pandemic. This season. Fuck everybody. Bye.
Can't believe I'm a grown man just bawling my eyes out over a sports game, but it fucking sucks. But, you know, Drew Brees just did it the right way, and it's just sad to see him go out to a fucking bitch-ass fucking bitch like Tom Brady. I mean, that guy is just a douchebag, and Brees just did it the right way. He's humble. He's not a fucking asshole. And so it just sucks, but, you know, it's, you know, just got a lot of good memories to look forward to, or, you know, just to look back on rather. So, who dat baby for life, and this is fucking depressing. I'm despondent. Fuck.
Well, if this is the way it ends, it was a hell of a ride. Fuck Goodell for robbing us of our second Super Bowl. Fuck that motherfucker.
Andrew Christopher Brees, what you've done for the city of New Orleans since you've come here in 2006 will be unmatched by anybody in NFL history. You gave hope to a battered and beaten city on its knees and helped them rise back to prominence in ways that we never thought were imaginable. I'm sorry you didn't get to go to another Super Bowl run. I'm sorry this team couldn't carry you like you did for years. But thank you so much for what you've done for this city. Thank you for everything that you've fucking done. It's been an amazing ride, man. I hate that it's over, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store for you. You will forever and always be the Saints GOAT, the NFL GOAT, the best there ever was, the best there ever will be. Peace, man. We love you. Thank you for everything. It was a great ride.
If you got any question or any doubt
beautiful.
if Drew is coming back next year, all you needed to see is when he left the field and he's gone into the tunnel and he looked back at the field, you can tell it was like one last time. And I take comfort in that. It seemed like he's comfortable with that. He's at peace with his decision. And I just want to thank him for everything he's done for my city. And I've been in the military for 19 years. I've been deployed to 52 different countries. And not deployed, but I've been to 52 different countries, deployed many times. And a lot of times that's my connection to home. Is the Saints. And everything that he's done for the city, and so much the city has been through, and when times that it was just impossible to agree on anything, or we just needed a break from reality, we had football on Sunday, and that was a good release. Love you, Drew. Who dat, baby?
God damn it. End of the game. -4 in the turnovers. Giving them good field position. That's hard to come back from. I don't know what's worse. Us losing or Tom Brady winning. Let's hope Green Bay can keep him out of the Super Bowl. Oh, and Ralph, it is your fault. Oh, and I forgot. Can someone please punch Troy Aikman in the face? That'd be fantastic.
See, I told you the hotline. It was amazing.
That was amazing.
It was.
Thanks for not ending it on the military guy, so I could have a minute to like get myself to get there.
I know.
Yeah,
Somebody's
getting,
cutting onions.
it was emotional, man. Yeah, it felt.
It was, and we got. If you listen to the
deep.
full one, that's 25 minutes. They got like 3 more of those emotional ones, man. People were pouring out their souls at like 1 in the morning last night.
It's tough, man.
What, that makes me...
I mean, we all relate to that, though, right? That's
No,
how
it
we
was
all like.
my wife was bawling last night. She was my wife, and her thing was
my wife was crying too.
She said, listen, I've known you since 2007. She's like, Drew Brees is all I know as a Saints quarterback. Like he's the Saints, man. That's when you say the Saints, I think Drew Brees. And she's like what is the post Drew Brees world gonna be? She's like the Dolphins are fucking terrible. We can't have 2 terrible fucking teams here, you know.
Marriage can't survive.
I mean, we got the Saints, we got the Dolphins, the Rockets traded James Harden, the Astros are on the decline. It's fucking horrible in the Mulbrough household.
I gotta say, you know, I'm glad whoever brought up Aikman. Thank you for that, because Aikman and Buck were outright disrespectful to Drew Brees. I thought, like, borderline unprofessional. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're gonna hear about it. There are 2 things that really irked me. The way Aikman and Buck called that game, I found very disrespectful, and just how much they fawned over everything that Tom Brady did. It was just like, are we watching the same game? Because both of them are playing poorly, but it's just like everything Brady did, they're just drooling and praising him, and it was disgusting. And secondly, Brady, speaking of Brady, does he just like work the refs every time something doesn't go his way? Like, it just seemed like every single time there was an incomplete pass, he's in the ref's ear going nuts. And it's just like, man, shut up.
Yeah.
He's such a baby.
Yeah. And I have to say, you mentioning Brady working the refs, I have to say, Lattimore, he was $100 million Lattimore yesterday. He really did. He looked like he was that version of Lattimore where you're like, give him all the money. I want that. I want that. That dude, if he would show up, Marshawn, you don't even need to show up. You don't even need to show up 16 weeks. Just give us that 12 weeks, and we'll pay you $100 million. Like,
one of my favorite moments was when he made that great breakup
on the deep throw.
Yeah, against Evans, and then he did he cradled the baby like Mike Evans was his kid, and he was Mike Evans's daddy. He was putting him to sleep.
I'll tell you what. The dude, whoever shut Michael Thomas down, he might be Michael Thomas's daddy.
I was about to say this about Mike Thomas because, speaking of Lattimore and what he does to Mike Evans, I felt like Carlton Davis did the same thing to Michael Thomas in this game. And I just want to say, and I hesitate to say this because I feel like Michael Thomas is going to catch a clip of this podcast, like the 3-second video of me dogging him. And he's
good. We'll get 9,000 retweets.
Yeah, he's going to retweet it and come at me in my DMs or something. But
5838, time code that shit, Thomas.
Yeah. Is Michael Thomas like approaching Jairus Byrd / Nick Fairley? Like where he gets the big contract, Junior Gillette, where he gets the big contract and it just explodes?
I mean,
goes combustible?
I have to assume that he has an injury that's been lingering that has.
Well, we know that.
I know, but
you can't run your mouth and be as big a malcontent as he is, and if you want to be that way, you got to be 100 catch, 1,200 yards a year. Like you can't be anything less than that if you're going to be on social media, running your mouth, punching teammates. Although it's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, so we'll give you a pass on the punching of the teammate because we understand everybody wants to punch him. But But he better.
But he hasn't been the same since he punched Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
He hasn't. But I mean, Andrew, you don't have to get into it.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here with Michael Thomas?
They can't trade him.
He gets the offseason. He
can't.
He comes back next season, and we
You think he'll be back to being great next year?
They can't trade him this offseason, right, Andrew?
You have this conversation.
Okay.
Andrew, they can't trade him this offseason. It's like a nuclear bomb on their cap, right?
I assume nothing when it comes to Mickey Loomis.
They had the Discord. By the way, get in the Discord channel if you're a patron. They had people in the Discord saying that Mickey Loomis would do shenanigans with Drew Brees' retirement to lessen the cap hit, which that'd be peak Loomis.
Loomis almost pulled off trading a pick for cap space.
He did.
So
that's right.
Yeah.
The only reason the NFL didn't approve it is because they didn't understand it.
Yeah, Fredo, I see you asking about trading Michael Thomas for Deshaun. I mean, you guys got to understand with that. The way I see that is, by the time the Texans would be good, Michael Thomas would be 31.
Yeah.
Like the Texans are. This is a long. If they trade Deshaun, it would be a long-term play with multiple
Here's the one thing
picks.
I did not know about Deshaun Watson. He got the Texans to put in a no-trade clause. So he basically, if he decides he wants to go or the Texans decide that it's over, like Deshaun Watson he basically has NBA player type power on where he goes. So that gives the Saints, instead of a no shot, it gives them a 5% shot. But if we're gonna talk quarterbacks all off season, I think if you're talking legitimate chance of the Saints quarterbacks, you're talking Stafford, Winston, draft a guy. Those are your three realistic Saints potential quarterbacks. Would either of you disagree with that before we get to questions?
I'm not talking. This is Drew's body isn't even cold yet. I'm not talking about. Other
We're on to
quarterbacks.
2021, Dave. I'm like Bill Belichick.
No, you are. I'm not. No way. No way.
I get it. We're gonna do now that the Saints season is done.
We got 7 fucking months to talk about this.
We got 7 months. We're gonna do best of Drew Brees. I'm gonna get Thomas to cut audio highlights, video highlights. We're gonna be Drew Brees celebration up until week 1 of the preseason for 2021. The one thing I will say, Dave, and not to be political, but I worry that COVID's out of fucking control. I worry that I'm not going to go to a Saints game in 2021. I'm legit worried about that. It is,
And you should be.
We got to get everybody vaccinated.
We'll see.
We got.
All right, you want to do some questions?
Let's do some questions, but I gotta fire up the. All right, Andrew, hit us with some questions.
All right.
We got to get Morton Anderson on the podcast.
We do.
He's
got a podcast.
Did you see he has his own podcast?
He does.
Yes. I've got 30 solid minutes worth of questions about this song.
I got 2 parts with him. We could do 2 hours with Morton Anderson.
We'd have to use this song as an intro. If we
oh my God! Sure. This song for 2 hours underneath.
All right, this first one we'll give to Dave. Dave, this is from Johnny V. Would the Saints have fared better yesterday with Jameis or Taysom at starting quarterback? Assuming both were healthy.
I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen enough of Jameis to really know. He's got that unknown factor, so you could say, yeah, maybe Jameis, but I don't know. I don't know if I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Taysom would have been much worse. I know Drew threw 3 interceptions. I know Taysom is prone to fumbling. I don't know if Taysom would fumble three times in a game. So I don't know. Maybe he'd be better, and he could at least take some deep shots down the field. I don't know. But like we discussed, it's a non-starter. It was never going to happen. Nobody is playing that game other than Drew Brees.
All right, Ralph. If Brady, this is from Hoodat, H-O-O Dat. If Brady Rodgers is the NFC Championship game, the Smug Bowl that 2020 deserves, then what sin have we committed to earn such torment?
I mean, I guess we.
Ralph, have you been masturbating again? Is that
I
why
have
we're
been.
in this situation?
I mean, that's just like that's just
we're
asking
here?
like, am I crippled, Dave? Of course, the answer
You have,
is
hand,
yes.
you have hair on your palms?
Yes. No. Probably
use
what
the
we've
bad hand?
done, the sin that we have committed, is like Dave says, we went too far with our 28-3 jokes. That's what we did.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
our
have said
sin.
that. That's right. I forgot about that. That shit's turning out to be very fucking accurate, by the way.
I can't believe you just brought up the stranger.
Well, I mean, it's like normally you have to
I'm
you have to like
aware.
sit on your hand for 5 minutes and let it go
Yes,
down.
I get it.
Ralph was born with that. He doesn't have to do that.
I get it. Yeah, that's funny. All right, Ralph. Hoodat also wants to know: can we get a live show meetup in Canton in 5 years for the enshrinement?
I don't know. Well,
would
if we want to do a live show in Canton, we need more than 300 patrons. So if you're listening to the show, sign up, become a patron, go to saintshappyhourshop.com and buy some merch, support everybody, and then we can have a fucking live show in Canton.
All right, Ralph. I'll give you this one. This is from Chris Moss. You can only have one. Do you sign Winston, Lattimore, or Marcus Williams?
Ooh, that is a tough one. I'm gonna say Winston. I think Winston can be a top 12 quarterback with Sean Payton. I think it's Winston.
All right, Dave. This is from Budrich. I think that's Matt. Which first pick gets the extension first to save cap room, Ram or Lattimore?
Oh man, that is a good question, but probably Ramczyk.
That is going to be an off-season topic forever because
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, because I feel like if you don't extend, if one of them doesn't get extended, you got to trade them. But we got 7 months to discuss that, as Dave said earlier.
This is from Bulk. Yeah, I like this one. It's a rhetorical. His question is: fuck Jared Cook or fuck Jared Cook?
No, it's fuck Jared Cook.
I got one. Andrew.
Go ahead, Ralph.
This is from Enriquez. I don't believe that Drew Brees was out there last night. Drew Brees actually ascended into heaven after we won the Super Bowl in 2018. This was just done. This was just a clone made from Drew Brees' hair plugs. This is not a question, but an excuse to play the sad Anzalone music. That's weird. That is weird there. The Anzalone dying music and the take it to the top. That was really. I feel like I just tripped on some really bad acid. Andrew, do you have any
First
more?
Of all,
yeah, I have a ton
First
more.
of all, you played the regular Anzalone music. You didn't play the sad Anzalone music.
Yeah. So, Taysom, Stan, and Rain, your question is way too long. He's worried about the cap. Trust Loomis. That's all I'll say about that. All right, here's a Chris Boulay question. It's right before the 2006 season. Someone tells you you're going to get 3 NFC title games, 7 division titles, make the playoffs 9 times, and you'll win a Super Bowl before the 2021 season. How do you respond?
Can I live it twice? Can I, fuck, and I said I would do this all again. 2018 was horrible, 2011 was horrible, but dude, this was amazing. If you're a Saints fan and you experienced anything before this, this is amazing. I would totally do this again. This was fun. This 15 years.
It was, yeah. All right, Dave. Which 3 scenarios? This is from War Damn Hawk 311. Which 3 scenarios would you like most for post Drew at QB? A is trade up for Trey Lance or Zach Wilson. B is trade for Sam Darnold or an equivalent free agent. C, Winston and Hill battling it out and riding it for a year?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I don't really like any of those. Honestly, if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the third one.
You don't like Sam Darnold?
Trey Lance
No,
sounds like
no,
a
I don't.
villain from Parks and Rec. I don't like him. I don't like his name.
Yeah. No, if it was Matt Stafford, yes, maybe, but Sam Darnold and somebody on that level, no.
The Saints quarterback rumor splash reports are going to be fucking amazing this offseason. It is going.
Who was it? Oh,
That's
wait, I
all
was
the
listening.
questions I got.
I was listening to somebody. They were saying they were talking about Greg Williams. Oh, it was I don't remember. It was
Greg Williams?
Yeah, no, it was Jeff Fisher. He was on Pardon My Take, and they were talking about Greg Williams. They were asking about Greg Williams because he was defensive coordinator with Jeff Fisher, and he was saying that he thinks Greg Williams might have potentially ruined Sam Darnold because he's so aggressive. Even in practice, he's aggressive, and like he just throws everything at you can't just like throw the kitchen sink at your rookie quarterback or your second-year quarterback. Like, you got to kind of ease him into it, like, even during practice. And so Jeff Fisher was a little concerned that Sam Darnold might be damaged goods because of Greg Williams.
Greg broke him. Greg
Sounds
Williams,
about right.
I don't know, like I'm not a big like chef cook person, but Greg Williams is like that spice that only works in like 4 dishes. Like, he worked for the Saints in 2009, but everywhere else, he's kind of been a disaster.
You're talking about like nutmeg, huh?
Greg
Williams, nutmeg.
Cardamom.
Yeah.
Yeah, nutmeg.
Saffron.
Yeah. What spice is Greg Williams?
Turmeric.
I'm just mad about saffron.
Yeah, turmeric is good for inflammation, though. Dr. Thomas told me that when I had my neck AIDS.
Greg Williams is not good for inflammation. I'll tell you that.
No. Anyway, yeah, but no, just to go into more detail, Jeff Fisher was basically saying, like, when you've got a rookie quarterback and you're practicing, like, you got to like ease him into different looks and different defensive looks, and make sure he's mastering the basics and that kind of stuff before he can move on to the next thing. And he was basically saying Greg Williams, in practice, he's
a cinnamon stick.
Yeah, and he actually referenced Drew Brees, and he said, if you've got a quarterback like Drew Brees that's seen everything, well then yeah, go ahead, do whatever, throw the book at him, do whatever you want. Drew's going to be able to handle it. But when you've got a guy like Sam Darnold who doesn't know how to process every piece of information he sees, that's going to fuck him up, and that's going to set him back potentially. You're going to ruin his confidence, and so no, that's why I wouldn't touch Sam Darnold.
Yeah. All right, so we're wrapped up. Everybody, listen. The season was it's over, but thanks for support. Listen, this show we had 14,000 downloads this past week, so we know we had a bunch of new people listen. You probably listen today. Sign up, support this
Thank
show.
you guys.
We're the best fucking Saints podcast in the world. We have the Discord channel where you can talk Saints 24/7 away, private. You get this podcast every single day for breaking news, which this Saints offseason is going to be the biggest offseason maybe ever, at least since 2006. So you're going to want your breaking news podcast when the Saints have news, and we'll be the first Saints podcast when you need your Saints news fix. And my wife will send you the booze bundle. I'll do it again at the proper audio level. So you get the booze bundle. It's swag items, amazing, and you get a special discount code to go to saintshappyhourshop.com where you can buy all the merch you want at discounted prices and put Dave out of business. You get all that for the low price of $10. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Been a fun season. We appreciate all of y'all. Didn't end quite like we wanted, but it was a fun last season for Drew Brees. It was crazy with COVID. I'm just happy we got a season. But, again,
Yeah.
thanks for supporting us. We'll be here all year. The rest of these Saints podcasts, they're going to fade away, not us. We're here fucking every Monday night, every fucking day. That's why we're the best. That's why we're number 7 in Malta. So for Dave, for Andrew, for Kevin,
7.
who's MIA.
Yeah, we're kind of crashing and burning, huh?
Yeah. So,
7's low.
yeah, we're falling. We're falling. If the Saints would have just won, we'd
Come
probably
on, Malta.
We'd probably be top 5. Fuck you, Malta. Get it together. So, anyway, guys, until next week, the bar is closed.